how do you pump your mind with nootropics or other maybe mechanisms of action
Oh boy, yeah,
besides blasting amphetamines?
we're gonna have some fun now. So nothing will come close to getting a good night's sleep and being healthy. So that's I want to say that first because it's like the supplements, right? So someone doesn't work out, they eat like crap, they want to build muscle. Like you could go take all the supplements you want, you're not going to do
Right,
very
right,
much.
right.
Same thing with things that improve, I guess, cognitive function. So for me, and for the people that I've worked with, besides the good sleep and stress management and all that stuff, one of the best things you could do to improve cognitive function is to fast or to get your body into ketosis. A lot of people do notice this, I guess, this mind elevating, borderline hypomanic energy with the brain. I do. I know when I fast after about 24 to 48 hours, like I'm on another level with
Yeah.
how I think and my creativity. And studies will show this with people who have cognitive decline. The ketones seem to improve that. So that's number one. Number two, I like lion's mane, but it's very subtle. I like to take that, and I'll notice after about a week or two, I'll start to have some improvements, I guess, in how I think. Choline is another compound that I've noticed. The stimulants, I'm a big fan of the stimulants. Now, the stimulants, we can argue, aren't necessarily nootropics, but if you're tired or unmotivated, I would argue they are nootropics.
Mhm.
So I like caffeine. Of course, that's classic. Add some theanine to that. You've got a great combination. Now we get a little crazy. We could throw in some agmatine with that. Agmatine is I guess a derivative of arginine. It's got some pain relieving effects. I know some mild stimulatory effects, especially if I combine it with caffeine and theanine. Yohimbe will do a little bit of that as well.
Yeah.
Those
Raoul sign.
yeah, these are all stimulants, right?
Mhm.
Now I've messed with the racetam class of drugs, piracetam, aniracetam,
Mhm.
all that stuff. I am not a huge fan. I did notice like a bit of a boost, and then I'd get kind of this ugly feeling coming down. And now my co-hosts are great because they let me. I give them whatever. They'll take whatever I give them, and they'll just. So I can give them like a handful of pills. Hey, try this out. Let me know how you feel. And
My type of guys.
yeah, great, right? So they did not like the racetams. They got headaches. They
Mm.
felt terrible from them. Of course, those are synthetic drugs. I don't think they're
Which
classified.
ones though? Because I've taken Pramiracetam, and that one, as far as like cutting out all the bullshit and just getting what's important done and eliminating distraction, definitely worked.
It's weird because I'm like, I feel fine on that. Yes, I tried that with them. I feel fine with that. But Adam and Doug in particular, I mean, I went down the list, and
Right.
they just did not feel good from any of them. So we kind of cut them out. I like it, but once or twice. After that, I start to feel
Mhm.
edgy, and I get a little
Yeah.
little
Yep.
irritable on them. So I don't, I have kids and stuff and a wife, and I'm not trying to be an asshole at home. So I don't really mess with that stuff too often.
Now, when you say it makes you like, I guess there's a whole nother conversation, but how to identify intelligence. But if somebody wanted to improve their actual like critical thinking, like we can improve energy, we can improve stamina, but
Yeah.
to actually make you smarter on an IQ test, like become a meta learner, like learn Chinese faster.
Yeah,
Because
so
nobody talks about that.
no,
They
no,
talk about nootropics, smart drugs, lion's mane. Okay, cool story. But what if you have the energy? I want to get my neurons to connect better.
yeah. All right, so we're getting in a little weird territory here, but you could try. I'm not gonna say you could try. I'm not gonna advocate this, but
This
someone
is
may
not
try.
medical advice. This is
Not at
not
all.
medical advice.
No, no, no. Someone may try the low dose psychedelics. Those seem to improve certain aspects of cognition, in particular the creative aspects, the ability to connect things that you maybe couldn't connect before.
Mm,
I mean, there's some evidence to show that this might happen. We actually have some great studies now on treating people with depression, anxiety, with psilocybin, with LSD, even with the drug that makes up ecstasy. But I think that there's some potential promise there. I think the best evidence we have are in the arts. I mean, obviously, musicians have been using these, even
for sure.
marijuana, right? Have been using these substances. Now, how do they work? I mean, we kind of have an idea now if we look at the brain and the connections that are happening. The way I like to explain it is you're on channel one all the time. This is how you see the world. And then you just move it to, halfway between channel one and two. You
Right.
still see things, it's just different. So now because you see things different, it can spark those creative juices. Here's a way I like to do that naturally. Okay. I like to, if I really have a problem or an issue that I want to think about, I change my environment completely. I take whatever idea, whatever it is I'm thinking about, I go somewhere that I'm not used to. I sit down, I'll either listen to music or just sit there, and I'll become extremely present. And usually, not always, but usually that'll spark some insight in me.
No
And
sensory
that's just,
deprivation tank.
I've done that before. Yeah, that's pretty fun. Yeah, I enjoy
Good
that.
or bad? I've done it. Well, I think it depends on the quality of the tank.
Yeah, you know what was weird about that is when I got out, I my CNS was really sensitive. It's very strange. Like
Mm,
as soon as I got out, things seemed very bright and loud, right?
yeah. Well, you're up in Silicon Valley, so that's like, tech biohacking. People are
Yeah.
microdosing psilocybin. So what's the cutting edge stuff that everyone's using at Google and Facebook?
Yeah, no idea. I think they're still microdosing the
Yeah.
psychedelics. Yeah,
You
I
think
think
that's
that's the same.
sustainable?
I don't know. They're remarkably safe. So, and I'm going to sound like a big commercial for psychedelics. Look, I'm not a huge advocate of recreational use of substances like this. I think they're very powerful, and I think it's a double edged sword. I think they can affect you positively or extremely in a negative direction. Nonetheless, the literature is pretty clear. The safety profile on these substances is remarkable. It's very, very,
Mm,
very hard to overdose.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not impossible on psilocybin or even LSD. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to come out with some issues, but you won't your body won't die like it would with other substances.
Right. You can't overdose like you can on amphetamines or whatever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, do you have to continuously keep taking psilocybin, or like, is it kind of one of those things where once you open the door, you might not be at level 10 because you're
Mm.
taking exogenous psilocybin, but now you've become a different person, but you've only taken it 3 or 4 times?
Yeah, no idea. So this is not my. I don't have any personal experience that I can pull from, but the research on psilocybin for the treatment of treatment resistant depression
Hmm.
and PTSD shows that now of course the way that they're administering these substances is not like you just take some shrooms in the forest with your friends.
Right. Right.
They are with a licensed therapist when they do this, and they're screened beforehand, and then they take the psilocybin, and they do therapy, and they find that the antidepressant effects last. So they'll do like one session, and then the depression will be lifted in many of these people, and then they'll visit them 6 months later and a year later. So no other treatments, and it's stuck. It literally
Mm,
stuck. And I think what they're doing is they're recreating epiphanies, right? They're recreating these kind of like breakthrough moments, which we've all experienced naturally, right? All of us have had an epiphany
right.
that
Right.
was mediated by something that happened. Maybe you lost a loved one, or you got divorced, or you almost killed yourself doing something, and then you have this epiphany and you change your life. So I think that's might be kind of the that's my guess, at least what's going on. But yeah, it sticks. So I don't know if that how that applies to microdosing though. I have no idea.
Yeah. And the difference between taking lion's mane at Vitamin Shop versus psilocybin is drastically different.
Oh my god, yeah, you're not gonna trip on lion's mane. Oh, maybe I don't know if you have maybe if you take a ton. I have no idea.
Yeah, or shit your pants. It's one. You're either gonna trip or shit your pants, or both. You're gonna be
Yeah,
tripping while shitting your pants.
yeah, yeah. That doesn't change your life. I don't know what will.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, what's your thoughts on Provigil and modafinil, the limitless drug?
Yeah, I know. I tried modafinil a couple times. I did not
Hmm.
like it. Did not like the way it made me feel. I got a little edgy. You know what's interesting about these compounds is I think the effects on dopamine might make some people feel a bit edgy, and I think I have a lot of dopamine anyway. I tend to naturally
Yeah,
kind of be borderline hypomanic, so I don't know. I don't know how other people's experience. I didn't like it. I don't like the way it made me feel. It made my heart. I started getting kind of irregular heartbeat with it.
mm,
Didn't feel very good. I know a lot of people swear by it. It's one of those things. I don't know. Did you see the studies done on Adderall and cognitive performance? There was this interesting study where because you got college students who will take Adderall, right? And they're like, "Oh, it
yeah,
helps
they
me
blast
study."
it.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
helps me study. I do a great job.
we know a lot of med students that me and my partner, and then obviously my girl. We know a lot of people that in medical school they're blasting it.
Yeah, and if they'll swear by it. Oh my god, it helps me, pass my
They
test.
literally cannot compete with other students. So it's kind of like Barry Bonds. It's like, okay, do you want to be Barry Bonds? Do you want to
Yeah,
be Lance Armstrong?
yeah. You
Like,
gotta take the
you want to
EPO.
be number one or not? Come on, Sal. Do you want to be Batman? Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I know. And, what are you setting yourself up for, right? But what they did this study and they found that Adderall did not improve cognitive performance, but it did change the perception of the person taking the test. They were more into the test and they felt like they did better.
Mhm.
So maybe if you're bored with your studying and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, or maybe that's how it'll help you, but it doesn't really improve cognitive
It's not
performance.
going to make your neurons sync faster.
No, and maybe it might even do the opposite, right? Over time, right? That flood of
Yes.
dopamine can be a little toxic to the brain. Also, you know, look, it's like this, right? It's like you take a bunch of steroids in college so you can make it to the pros. Now you got to take the steroids in order to do anything in the pros. Like, okay, you take a bunch of Adderall to make it through medical school. Now you're a doctor, and now you're in the real world, and you're doing your internship, and that's when you're going through the shit. You're gonna keep taking it, and then you got
Mm.
patients, so you're gonna keep taking it. Now you work in the ER, you're gonna keep taking it.
That's when you jump on TRT.
Yeah, that's right.
That's like the real limitless drug, right? Like high testosterone, like driven, not cracked out, calm,
Yeah,
motivated. That's high test. That's high test.
yeah. I mean, but if you have naturally high test, you don't need it. But yeah, if your test is low, oh yeah, that makes. I mean, I'll tell you, I'll tell
But
you firsthand, life changing.
but even if you can get it to 1,000 normal, like if you could take exogenous TRT and just get it at consistent baseline 1,000, no fluctuation because you're exogenously injecting.
Right.
I mean, if I had to put my money on someone that's exogenously staying at 1,000 versus a guy that's fluctuating from 500 to 600, and they're just as capable, they're just as
Oh
intelligent,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm choosing the guy with high T because he's probably going to be more driven and motivated to get shit done.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Men's testosterone levels are very sensitive to their environment, their state of mind, their sleep, their diet. You
Right.
take exogenous testosterone, it's always high. So when someone says, "Oh, I'm on TRT and I'm in the high normal range, so I don't have an advantage," no, you have an advantage because you could sleep 2 hours tonight and you'll still have high testosterone,
Yeah.
whereas the other
You
guy,
could fast.
yeah,
Fasting kills your hormones,
yep,
and so you could get the benefits of fasting, but also keep your hormones at an extremely high level. Now you're
yep,
super physiological.
yes. Now that poses the argument: testosterone naturally fluctuates when you're doing these things. Is that, and of course, we evolved that way. Are there health detriments to constantly having high testosterone when you're doing unhealthy things, right? When you're not
Probably.
sleeping, when
Yeah.
you're overtraining, right?
Yeah.
Maybe now this is where we start to make
Longevity's longevity goes in the shitter, but vitality is pretty nice.
yeah.